Ulonka tabati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá inú tó yẹ kó jẹun lọ fi bípa ọba tálá ọba takuntakun Ṣàngó Èṣù Ògún Ọya Ọ̀ṣun kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí ó jẹ́ lọ jára rẹ̀.
Alafia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Orisa Gbemi, and today we're joined again by the Thunder and Lightning duo. We got the Big Chief, we got the research wizard, master researcher, scientist, Brother Bdell, 1014 in the building, man. We ready to make it do what it do with another round from the Mama Geddon Big Three show, man. So it's been nothing but phenomenal feedback, you know, and great appreciation for that last one, which I knew it was going to be a powerful show, man, to have that happen. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you to both of y'all for coming through and making that thing happen on June 6th, I believe it was. And then, the double right back again, you know, with the war report. Shout out to Capone and Noriega for the war report. We want to use that for today. Shout out to Tupac Amaru Shakur, whose birthday coming up tomorrow. Shout out to all the fathers out there, man. Shout out to both of y'all. Happy Father's Day to both of y'all brothers. And man, I appreciate y'all.
For sure, man. Right back at you.
Yes, sir. That's what's up. Well, without further ado, there's a lot going on as it always is, man. So I guess we could just dive right into the whole war. War report. We didn't call it that for a reason. We got Iran bombing Israel, Israel bombing Iran, and a whole lot of other stuff going on. So, Big Chief, did you want to hit this one first in regards to this whole situation that we see that's unfolding right now with this war situation, or who wants to hit that one first?
Look, all this stuff is happening at the same time. LA is supposed to be some riots. DC is a military parade. Israel bombs Iran, and Iran retaliates and ship bombs back to them. All right, all this happening at the same time. Right now, we know that LA is Hollywood, right? The big screen, and we know that DC is political satire, right? Theatrical performances by politicians, masquerading as people with powers, but ain't none of them got no power. They are being instructed what to do. When they say a senator sponsored a bill, he ain't write that bill. It's a whole group of people that write that bill and got nothing to do with the senator. Right? So all this stuff is going on, but Bdell brought something up. What did you say about the 33 ritual sacrifice date?
The LA riots from 1992 going all the way up to 2025. That's exactly 33 years apart. So you can tell, like I said, as far as like the numerical sequences, as far as like numerology, there's an octave vibration that takes you to a different space and time because those numbers hold an energy, and that energy is connected to a certain timeline. So that's how they're able to perpetuate the illusion and the cycle by way of the numerology.
But it's also the blueprint to the exit strategy from the old contracts of the old system. Remember, I did a couple of shows and I was telling y'all what to look for, and I was like, one of the things you got to look for is the United States National Guard have to come in before they dismantle the police.
Yep. I remember that.
Right. Now, they're telling us about the National Guard in LA, but it's a couple more places around the country that they already was deployed to before that. That was done with radio silencers, they say. They just slid on into town. Next thing you know, you got National Guard all over the place. Right now, I told y'all, because of the people that they was fighting and draining the swamp, when you get to the end, they got to have special forces with special skills. So the National Guard is going to be able to sheep dip special forces in order to use them on the street to fight against these nefarious beings. They train for it. So what did you just see? Trump called in the National Guard in LA, and then he bagged them up with a special group of Marines with a particular set of killing skills.
Super
Right?
so.
Yep. The elite of the elite.
Yeah.
And not only that, the U.S. Marshal deputized 5,000 military to be sheep dipped under the Marshal's office. That means that they're planning a massive operation and they got nothing to do with immigration. But immigration is the cover story. The immigration is the cover story while they execute the plan, because we have to see the National Guard come in before they spring the trap on the police in case some of the police stations go rogue. Right? Because some of them know that they work for the Crown of England, but some of them don't. The ones that know it is the ones that's more likely to instruct their officers to resist the National Guard, and this is where you're going to need your Marines at. Right? So the show of military domestic force, when the last time they had a mass military parade in D.C.? Do you remember? Do anybody remember? We remember them being done in China.
Yep.
We remember them being done in North Korea. We remember them being done in Russia. We remember them being done in Iraq. But we don't remember the last time they had a domestic military show of military armament in a parade, right? Now, you might have had a veterans parade that was much smaller scale, but a presidential parade. Now, it was Trump's birthday as well.
Yep.
Right? In the movement behind the LA so-called riots is called the No Kings movement. So it's a No Kings protest. So who would be protesting against the king? Think about that. If it's a No Kings protest, who's trying to get rid of the king? Who got the power to remove the king from the throne?
Big Mama.
That's it. The Queen Mother or the Queen. That's it.
Yeah, because you can't be a king without coming through the Queen Mother's bloodline.
Yeah, because the
what
Queen Mother is the mother of the king. That's what make her the Queen Mother. Right? And the queen is the one he take for the bride. But it's a political strategy move. It's the same as getting the queen on the chessboard. You're getting a power player in order to help you play this game called life. 5D chess. So you got to know when to use your jesters, just like you got to know when to use your assassins.
Right.
If you use either one of them at the wrong time, you fumble the ball, you're going to cause anarchy.
Hey, let me ask y'all this, and either one of y'all could take it, but do y'all remember back when they was closing down all them Walmarts back when COVID was going on?
Yep.
Okay.
Hey,
does that have anything to do with what we're seeing right now? Because to me, something ain't adding up. I smell some fishy shit. Like, does that all like?
Yeah, because the No Kings symbol was facilitated by Walmart. They're the ones who created that. It's coming from that faction. Because you also got to understand that it's an anagram for the word martial law. So then you remember that Donald Trump, he signed that Secular Declaration of Independence on July the 4th of 2020, which was the restoration of the republic. So now within that attribute, what he did was he got qualified immunity. So now this is where FEMA can take over the military and they can deploy them and use them against the American people. As far as like when you're going against these protesters or whatever, he can enact that because he has is it under the continuity of government, I believe?
Yeah, emergency war powers.
Yeah, so he has control over the military. So
yeah. So FEMA was the first thing that military intelligence infiltrated.
Yeah.
Because FEMA was designed by the old man Bush faction
Mm-hmm.
to take over if we don't wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the whole FEMA was originally designed to react as if they coming for an emergency, but then they leaving us stranded like with Hurricane Katrina. Right. So the whole thing is to control the outcome of the disaster. How bad do you want it to be, and what do you want the financial benefit? Do you know how many people donated to Katrina relief?
Millions.
A lot.
Millions. And some people, some of them people, them princes in Saudi put $1 billion on that shit, and the people never seen none of the resources that came from it.
That goes back to Muammar Gaddafi when he was trying to give the gold, you know what I'm saying? Was it to the nation or to Farrakhan or to black people in America? And they blocked that too.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, Gaddafi promised Farrakhan that he would put the wealth of Libya behind our people to struggle for our independence. And as a gesture of good faith, he offered Farrakhan $5 billion. When he offered Farrakhan the $5 billion, it got to go through banking channels. The U.S. government got wind of it and told Farrakhan, if you want this $5 billion, we need you to register under the Trading with the Enemies Act. Right? And that's what they use to try to block it. But it's still other means by which resources can be donated to a nonprofit organization. It's more than one way to skin a cat.
Right.
Look at the nation. Nation of Islam, whether you agree with their doctrine, whether you like Elijah Muhammad or not, the Nation of Islam is the lifeblood that links all of the tribes together at a moment's notice, right? We needed somebody to stay the course so that they can get their fingers wherever we at in every community we are with respect still. Even if you don't like them, even if you don't like their doctrine, even if you don't like the character of their original leadership, right? You have to respect the way that they deal with their people in the streets. Right? That's the basic human respect. So when Gaddafi, remember, Gaddafi also offered the same thing to Chief Malik Jafar, Angel Bay. Right? To put the wealth behind the rise of the Black Peace Stone Nation. Most of us don't know that. Right? That Jeff Ford had not, Gaddafi wasn't the only one willing to give Jeff money. That's why they had to get rid of him. And that's why they ran that COINTEL operation to set him up with trying to buy a rocket launcher that was never functional. They tried to sell him a dummy. And he didn't have nothing to do with it, but because he was the figurehead, the leader of the Peace Stones, he ended up taking the weight of what somebody under him was taking it up on themselves to do. And then they brought in these people they call code crackers to say that their day-to-day language was talking in code, but they was talking regular English. But they were saying it was code. So they developed the code based off their day-to-day language to indicate what they were saying, but it's not what they said. We don't pay that stuff no attention. What did they say? Okay, what are you saying they said this, but that ain't the words that came out their mouth.
Right.
You telling us what they meant, let them tell us what they meant. We can't go off your word because you ain't the one speaking them.
Facts. That part.
But they use that to ensnare him in the counterintelligence operation to stop the rise of any potential messiah who could incite the masses. They had hundreds of us on paper from elementary school to adulthood. And the ones that showed the promise of becoming the leader, they either had them killed in the street or locked up for life. Everybody locked up, not guilty. And you will believe how many people that may have had something to do with it was being led by a confidential informant the whole way.
Yeah.
Working on the payroll of the government.
Yeah.
Never got arrested for the same crime that they started.
Yeah. The system is so cutthroat and so conniving and scandalous. There are brothers that I know firsthand. I'm talking about real life accords that I know personally. There are brothers who have done bids that done 15, 20 plus year bids. When they get out, they put a damn CI on them to follow them and to surveillance them and to try to befriend them so they can kind of hem them along, like roll them along and like lead them into another crime or another charge so they can get them to, so they can send them right back to prison. I know somebody personally that they did that too. So I know how nasty these devils are. It's a real thing.
But what we're not understanding is those are military operations operating in the police state of an occupied territory of a foreign agency that's masquerading as our government, but has nothing to do with the people who have heritable rights to the land. They have subject matter jurisdiction because they control the paperwork, but we got territorial jurisdiction. They operate in Admiralty and Maritime. We operate under the Great Law of Peace. We not the same.
And that's why, you know, you're seeing the shift in power too. That strawberry moon that we had, that was a representation of the harbinger of destruction and transformation of the patrilineal system of patriarchy. So it's not a coincidence that was also tether connected to Friday the 13th. That was the restoration of Big Mama. So everything as far as like the numerology and everything and the fall in a system is a representation of the fall of the sleep spell of King Gu, the fall of the lunar energy. And that's what, you know, is facilitating everything as far as their corporate system. So that's why it has to fall, because it represents a transitional shift. Because when you look at the precessional circle of the equinox, it shows you how the Draconian star constellation was also in conjunction with the age of Pisces, which was the clay age. The clay age, which is the age of mankind, which is the kind of a man that was genetically spliced in 4086 BC on the island of Patmos. So now we're going through a transition now from the age of Aquarius to where it's in alignment with the star Polaris. So now, like I said, everything is starting to activate as far as like by way of the nature, by way of, you know, numerology. So the next strawberry moon we're supposed to be having is in 2043. And according to Dr. Malachi Z. York, Freedom Master Teacher, he said that the mothership was going to come back during the time of 2043 because there's a vortex that opens up that it happens in 10-year increments from 1943 when they had a Philadelphia experiment where they made the ship disappear. That's when there was a big rip in the universe. So now the vortex opens and it's an interstellar vortex portal, and there's like a shift that takes place. And that's during the time period of when you're supposed to see the strawberry moon that represents the, you know, the fall of, you know, patriarchy. And it's also the rise of the ones that's, you know, leaving the system. As far as like 2043, that's when you're going to have the great balls of fire.
Look, when have you ever known a country to have civil unrest and celebrations on the same day? And they know that they both coming.
When you've heard of this bastardized corporation that they call America, that's the only time I know of in recorded history.
Look, this is the first time in history that you had a national crisis in the streets on one coast and a celebration on the other coast. They telling us something.
Yep.
It's an uncommon occurrence. It's a message in there.
What's the message, Big Chief?
So we looking at first Elon fell out with Trump.
Yep.
Mutt and Jeff routine.
Yeah, they got in the tizzy.
Now they playing the same storyline on the bigger national scale. What these two did is what the nation is doing.
Good cop, bad cop.
Right. Now, they play good cop, bad cop in order to force a confession. Right? One of them play like he your friend, and the other one play like he gonna send you to prison for forever and ever in a day.
Fact.
For jaywalking. You'll never see the day of light again. You jaywalked across my streets. You'll be locked up from now to eternity. Bad cop. Good cop. Pay him no mind. He's just angry. Right? So they playing it out on the national level now and on the international level at the same time.
Yep.
On the international level, it takes us to Iran, Israel, right? Which takes us back to outcasts.
Yep.
Because those bombs have to fly over Baghdad.
Don't pull the thing out unless you play the game.
Hey, that's I'm glad you brought that up because that's also representing the black hats versus the white hats too, like on a national scale.
Yeah, but
the
Democrats are following or back in Israel, and then the Republicans or the white hats are back in Iran. Correct?
Yep. Because that's why they said that the grid is going to be attacked. That's why the World Economic Forum, they said it was inevitable. I think that's going to go ahead.
Netanyahu is the only puppet that I personally want to walk up to him and shoot him in the face.
Oh wow.
His personality and desperation that drive people to war all around them countries. They should have been he worse than what was the other one named? Ariel Sharon.
Mm.
Man, that dude right there, he was a diehard Zionist.
Mm.
And the Zionists, look, even the Israelis don't like Zionists.
Mm.
The immigrants that came there with the Zionists don't like the Zionists.
Mm.
Right? So the whole thing being is they play this storyline out, but it's a distraction.
Yes.
All we supposed to do is don't feed into it. Because when they don't get our energy from it, fall apart. So they sensationalize it and they play on our fears, our misery, and our pain. They usurp our identity and claim our suffering, but they never went through and endured the suffering that we had to endure.
Yeah.
Imposters, interlopers, masquerading as us. They look like us, but they ain't us.
But that to me is the Eminem factor of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants the hip hop, they want the rap, but they don't want to deal with the struggle of the artist of the hip hop, the true form of hip hop, or who created. You know what I'm saying? This
Eminem was classic to the roots of hip hop in his rise.
With
Right?
Dr. Dre?
No, before Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
When he was working with Proof, he was learning to perfect his craft following street rules.
Wasn't Proof his ghostwriter? That's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, though.
I don't know if he was his ghostwriter, but he was his coach.
Gotcha.
Right. And because Eminem had his own way that he wrote, the flavor that Proof was able to give him just gave him that extra to get over the hump. Because he needed to be able to reach both sides of the spectrum. The ones that look like us and the ones that don't look like us. Right? That look like him. Hip hop, Eminem is an Arcturian. He ain't really Caucasoid. He Caucasoid-ish.
Can you break that down for us?
His parents, they mixed.
See, I never knew that.
You can look at them and tell, but you have to know what they look like when they came here to know if they mixed. I always tell people when they so-called open the plantations up, all them people that was passing that came to the north, where they go?
Mm.
Who they married?
Right.
Right? They got testimonials of people who lived through discovery that they was mixed, but most of your Hollywood greats was mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Your Fred Astaire's, your what's my man name? The
Dean
Duke,
Martin.
John Wayne,
Yeah.
Elvis Presley.
Mm.
Right? They was all mulattoes.
Mm.
The whole thing with Hollywood back then to get an Oscar, you got to remember, Oscar was look like us.
Yeah, you know, that reminds you when you say what you saying that, and I don't mean to interrupt, but that triggers something about samurais. I don't know how many people know you had to be African or have African blood in your system in order to be considered to be a samurai. Is that not correct?
Yeah, because the neuromelanin is what gives you the intuitive intelligence to tap into like ESP and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Because they also was they had a katana, it's a spirit sword.
Mm.
So it was
I got one too.
The vibration of the carbon because it contains a positive electrical frequency. So just your genetics alone enhances the intelligence of the sword. It can activate it.
Mm.
They even showed that they show you in the video game Assassin's Creed. They got a new one. They show you the Black Samurai. It just came out maybe a couple months ago.
You know where I learned how to refine my sword development in charging energy? Bleach.
Yep. Because bleach
Go, when they tell you the properties of each one of the Zanpakuto, and they got his Bankai form and the Shikai form, they telling you how to use the energy, but they not telling you how to use the energy.
Right.
They showing you examples of the energy being used. And it's only certain people that have holographic vision that could see the correlation where you can utilize the stuff that they showing you in the anime.
Yep.
Another one was a Full Metal Alchemist. Right? They was telling you the rules of alchemy in there.
Yep.
And showing you what happened when you try to override nature to do what you want, because the laws of nature even applies in the laws of physics. There's only so much you allowed to do before what you allowed to do be turned against you. Because you're not allowed to do stuff continuously to people that you wouldn't want people to do to you. Because if you keep doing it, sooner or later, they're going to send somebody to do exactly what you did to the people to you, bully you around, smack you upside your head, whoop you up and down the block, pistol whoop you, whatever it take in order for you to get the message.
Yep.
And I promise to God, I just was having this conversation over the last 2 days. That is, to me, is no different than you getting a visit from Lady K, Miss Karma, because well, she gonna come and see you. It's just a matter of when she come and see you. But when you put that ish out there, the pendulum has to swing back. That's the laws of nature. That's the laws of the universe. As above, so below. As within, so without.
Yep. The law of physics say for every action is equal and opposite reaction, unless due to elasticity, in which case the reaction may be delayed. That means you could stretch it out, but it's still coming back.
Boy, the further you stretch it, boy, the harder and faster it's coming back. And we seeing that. That's the laws of Ma'at. The laws of Ma'at says you're gonna get back what you give, and sometimes if you're doing it unrighteously, 7 times fold.
Why did the elders leave us the laws of Ma'at written? Why did they leave it for us to study?
We had to pick up and then follow
the guidelines, the guidelines for humanity to be civilized.
Look, they're not trying to control you.
Right.
Right. But there's paths in life that they've walked so many lifetimes that they're able to give you principles and to give you vision to understand how to navigate the world, because we don't be born with no instructional manual. Right? Because we don't have an instructional manual, You only allowed to do bad until you know better. And when you know better, you obligated to do better. And if you know better and you don't do better, you're going to get treated worse. That's how it works. And a lot of people think that, oh, why them people rich and these people poor? The corporate constructs of the country. We just wasn't allowed to play the game. It wasn't that we didn't know how. We was blocked out of all of the institutions. We needed to pass the brown paper bag test, but we was too red.
Yep.
We wasn't yellow enough. And that's how they used the pale faces to block the institutions, but the people that was running the institutions was darker than us. And so this is what gave us the illusion that white supremacy had to do with skin color when it got everything to do with class.
Yes, sir.
Right? The better you play the game, you have a side effect called wealth.
Yep.
The money pile up when you play the game. It's just like Monopoly. The better you is at the game, the better you is at collecting. You can break the bank in Monopoly. And now everybody got to come to you. Right? If you know the rules of the game, you can break the real life bank by telling the truth.
Yep.
Because the truth is more powerful than the sword. Sword can cut you down, but the truth will raise you up.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? The sword can cut you free, but the truth will make you eternally free.
Yes, sir.
Right? So they become synonymous by symbolism. So then when you would charge your sword, and out of his mouth came a two-edged sword.
Yeah, that's deep. It's funny because it reminded me of somebody left a comment on the channel the other day, and they were saying how one of the shows kind of enlightened them to like wake them up to the truth or like change their reality or perspective of the truth. And it was funny because my comment response was, the truth is just like the sun. It's going to rise, you know what I'm saying, no matter what. You can try to put clouds and chemtrails or whatever the hell you want to try to block it, but you can't stop the sun from shining. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the truth is. The truth is going to rise no matter how far you try to bury it. No matter how much you try to layer on top of it, it's going to rise and elevate just like the sun. There's nothing nobody can do to stop it. And that's what we're seeing right now happening in real time.
Look, and all that stuff they're putting up there, the sun will move it out the way so it can penetrate the earth.
Yes, sir.
Facts.
Yes.
The potency of the UV ray will move it out the way. It'll look like it's piercing holes in the atmosphere.
Yes, sir.
And the sun gonna shine through. Right, so they was terraforming the earth for another species because they didn't think we was gonna win the war. Once we won the war, now they got to use clean trails to get that stuff out the sky, and that's why you got rocks and cement falling out the sky. Those are binders.
Yep.
Binding to the chemicals they put on there to get it out the air.
That's crazy. We just had some of that like literally last Monday, if I'm not mistaken, right here in the Bay Area of Florida. We just had that Monday, if I'm not mistaken, last Monday.
Yeah, that's from the clean trails cleaning up the chemtrails.
It's kind of like the same. It's the same concept of when a person's about to get evicted. That's what all Mother Nature is doing. It's just moving the rest of the shit out the way that was facilitated by the colonizers by way of colonialism. So the snakes really just throwing that shit out out on the street. That's what's happening right now. So everything they doing right now, as far as their their incantations, is not going to work. So that it's not one of those things where Donald Trump, he's not creating different dynamics to restore the matriarch. He's not doing it because he wants to. He's doing it because he has to.
Yeah, he don't have a choice.
Yeah, you don't have a choice.
Now, he just the face though. He ain't the one. He ain't the real power behind the machine.
Exactly.
I was going to ask you that. What, like, who is it that's like calling the shots? Because I know it's not him, and I do feel like there's like an extraterrestrial influence or some sort of outside entity that is calling the shots or pulling the strings like Geppetto. So would you happen to know who?
You want to pull up a receipt?
Yes, sir.
Go to images and type in FEMA continuity of government.
Okay, let me see what I find real quick. You said FEMA
Continuity of government.
Okay, I found it.
Can you share the screen?
Yeah, give me 1 second because this platform is a little tricky, but let me see if I could, because I had went to Safari to see if I can get it, but let me see if I can get it in here too so I can pull it up. Okay, now I got a couple of different ones. I see the guide to
that's why I asked.
Is that the one you want? The guide to continuity of government?
Do it got a line under that said by who's the continuity of government under? Who's doing it?
It says what I see is continuity of government is intended to preserve essential functions of the statutory. Let me see. Let me click on it and see what it says.
It's the cover for the pamphlet. You ain't got to read the inside. You just got to read the cover.
Okay, yeah. Let me go back then because that's not showing me that. But let me try again. You said it's going to be the cover of the Panthers
pamphlet.
Oh, pamphlet. Okay, yeah. I think I do see that. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna try to see if I share it real quick.
I think you got a government building on the cover.
Yep, I just found it. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull it up. Let's see.
See, when you show somebody something, it got a whole different force to it than when you just tell them.
I got it. I'm about to bring it to the screen. 1 second. Yep, I got it locked and loaded. I'm gonna bring it in. So let me pull it up. Boom, got him. All right. As soon as I upload, I'll share it. But yeah, I found it. I got it. I got it right here. It's just waiting for it to upload.
We at the end of continuity of government.
Boom. That's it?
Yeah. You see that white line that's with the smaller print where it say guide to continuity of government? Read that.
For state, local, tribal, and territorial governments.
Territorial mean the ones with the jurisdiction over the land. Tribal is the people with the different family lines that predominate the land pre-colonialism. Right? And you see where it says state and local, because the tribal way is to take over local government first. Once all of the local governments understand what's being done, then you bring down the corporate government legal fiction, restoring the tribes back to power. The generals, the white hat generals, was retired military generals who discovered the fraud being ran on the people of the country and how we was all being enslaved and forced to fight in wars that had nothing to do with us. But the people from over here, we wasn't over there. It was people using our name. Right? They were CB4 rappers. Stole Gusto name. They were studio gangsters the whole time, pretending to be us so they can bully the rest of the world that don't want no smoke with us. We have a legendary and historical record of fending off all attacks. This one was just done with sorcery, conjure magic, blood rituals, and blood rites. Right? So now that we've undone all of their rituals, right? By exposing them to the public, it breaks the spell, which allows this continuity of government process to be carried out by the tribes using the oral tradition to reclaim the territorial jurisdiction, which gives them the right to overthrow the legal fiction. Now, this team is in a place called Raven Rock in Colorado, in a military bunker, because the higher chiefs on the land that y'all probably haven't never seen right? But they the ones been struggling with the government to get us back into control, right? And now, because we didn't never do treaties with them, we was classified as outlaw tribes. So we had to use alternative means of communication in order for all of the tribes to know that we coming back for everything they owe. And it just so happened they owe us everything.
Yes, sir.
We don't want reparations, we want restoration.
Mm-hmm.
Put my blood right back where it belongs. Give me my family trust. Because all my family members is under my family trust. You just didn't know I knew.
Yeah, this
So
is
I
all.
did.
Oh, go ahead.
This is what we've been doing this whole time. Walking through this manual. Continuity of government for the Biden term, both Trump terms. Obama destroyed the United States. Soon as a foreigner took office, it had canceled the contract of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Barack Obama is a foreign-born individual, was never supposed to take office. You can look that up. No foreign-born person was supposed to take the office of the presidency because it's classified as a hostile takeover by a foreign nation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger never ran for president.
That's deep. Now, who would you consider to be Obama's handlers? Like, how was he able to?
George Herbert Walker Bush was his handler from a child.
As a CIA, he was part of a CIA operation, correct?
He appointed his direct overseer to be Lolo Sotoro. His mother was a surrogate carrying a clone child.
Oh, you about to go there? Go ahead.
I got something with that too, and you
go
know,
ahead, because we spoke about this off air. Y'all both go ahead and get it.
Yeah, that's the Boys of Brazil program, but they told us they was cloning Hitler. They wasn't cloning Hitler; they was cloning Akhenaten. And that's why Obama looked like Akhenaten. He is cloned.
And you remember the guy from Five Heartbeats, the light-skinned guy, Dresser?
Yep.
That's where he got his mannerisms from. He was coached by him. So like
in Chicago. He trained him in Chicago.
Facts. The light-skinned guy, watch the movie Five Heartbeats, and you will see the exact same mannerisms as the light-skinned guy named Dresser.
Better yet, when you figure out his real name, you can look him up on YouTube telling the story of how he taught Barack Obama how to play him as a president.
Yep.
Central casting, baby. Central casting.
Yep.
Central casting, baby.
It's getting hot in these Ashe streets, boy.
So right. You know, Big Chief was right. It's all a stage show. It's
Get
all
him, Bdell.
Hollywood. You know,
Look,
it's but a Hollywood.
You remember John Hinckley Jr. shot Reagan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that's George Herbert Walker Bush, your legitimate son.
Did not.
I didn't know that.
Look, if you put his picture next to Jeb Bush's picture, you'll swear up and down they twins. They look the same but different. I already did all that stuff on my Facebook page.
It's getting hot. Hot out this thing, boy. Getting real hot. Yes, sir. Yeah. Look, we promised the people the war report, boy. You're getting the report, boy. You're getting that thing loud and clear.
And all of the blood shield families are the families that's concealing the black nobility.
Yeah.
All of the blood shield families covering for the real 13 bloodlines of the tribes of so-called Israel. The Black Jew. Right? And all of the organizations like the JDL is actually a paramilitary training group. Right? Under the pretense of a civil rights action group. The ADL is a public relations group. if they can't compel you by anti-Semitism, right, to shut the F up, they send the Jewish Defense League to shut you up. Right? They are a branch of Mossad. The Mossad is the branch of CIA, KGB, MI5. They all were in on creating Mossad. Right? They create these intelligence networks. This is the past information, clandestine, and they use public means. Like when you watch spy movies, especially in the 70s, you used to see the spy grab the newspaper. And he would extract the code from the newspaper. And regular people would just read the story and never know it was a code in it. That's how they do, because they trade in secrets on a network that requires you to know certain code cracking techniques.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
If you know the page, you'll know who they talking to.
Wow. And you know what that reminds me of? Like Morse, to me, it reminds me of like a combination between Morse codes and like the Medunachir, or any type of sacred, you know what I'm saying, encrypted system of communication. If
it is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Just like the Odu of Ifa or Medunachir of Kemet, you know what I'm saying? Like all of these are secret binary, or Odu is binary, but all of them are secret encrypted codes. And if you don't have the access code to get into, you know what I'm saying, manipulating that modality of communication, you ain't gonna be able to read nothing. But if you have it, you can read it all.
The same thing actually translates even with the sports as a codex.
Yeah, you don't talk about
that. Everything within the Metatronic overlay is a codex. Just like when you look at OKC versus the Pacers. What is the Pacers? The horse. 2026 is also the year of the horse, and that's also the same year that they say that the Golden Gate Bridge is going to collapse, because they just came out with a news article that was talking about it on YouTube, how they're looking at many different afflictions, talking about the Golden Gate Bridge is going to collapse during that time period, because the Golden Gate represents the galactic center, and it represents the 9/11 ritualistic events, the tire moments of everything that's going to be facilitated by Donald Trump, because he's an agent provocateur, chaos agent. So
he's
everything.
The liquidator in chief.
Facts. Yep. So the signs and symbols is not only subjected to as far as like the political apparatus, but you can see it in what's going to be taking place. You can see it in the movies. You can see it in sports. Everything is symbolism, and the symbolism for what is to come as far as their sustainable development goals and going into the future.
Yeah, that's deep. Hey, let me ask y'all this, because I see, and it's been multiple comments too. Shout out to the tribe, man. I appreciate everybody. We like 1,600 deep in this thing right now. Shout out to everybody who's showing up and showing out. But they've been talking about, and I've heard about this too. What do y'all have on the Job Corps situation? Because they definitely, they closed down a lot of the Job Corps. You know what I mean? And then I saw somebody said, what do y'all think is going on in these Job Corps centers? So shout out to Yasuki and Young Hitters. They both commented on that.
So you got to know the origin of Job Corps. Job Corps was never intended for none of us. Job Corps was a way to catch errant Caucasian youth and give them a segue into military style living.
Wow.
So that they can matriculate them into the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. What happened is that we begin to get the information from relatives that lived around them, that the Pale people were sending their children to Job Corps, and they was being paid as teenagers, 12, 13, 14 years old, all the way up to, I think, 17 at that time, and eventually moved up to 21. And then they was able to learn a trade, a skilled trade, because remember, they took the skilled trades out of inner city schools. There's no skilled trades in inner city schools anymore unless somebody revived the program somewhere. So they had to make sure when segregation became integration that they had a way to sheep dip their children, funnel them out of the system to try to turn them into soldiers. In their youth, they wanted them to be like Michael Samuel from the Femme Nikita show. But when they become seasoned in their old age, they want them to be Victor Newman off the soap operas. Right? And the balance between the two, from being a young stone cold killer to a business mogul. You're a warrior in war, and you need war strategy in the boardroom. So you become the master strategist. Right? So Job Corps began to start busting at the seams because there was so many entrants when other communities got wind to this was a good way to get skilled trades for our sons. And a lot of us didn't operate well in high school, because we got beef with them dudes over there. We can't get along with them other dudes over there. We haven't learned the social skills of communication to the point where we can go talk to them dudes over there to find out why we even got beef. Because we might not supposed to have beef, might have been told to have beef by somebody that ain't us.
That's a real thing.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and it started busting at the seams, they're going to eventually shut that avenue off because there's more people benefiting than the original intended purpose of the benefit.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different I feel like there's a lot of different factions in society that operate that way as well. It's like they'll have things or let things go to a certain extent, but then once we get wind of it, once we learn how to figure it out, then it's like Operation Shutdown, because like it's only designated for a selected, I guess, group or few.
Do you know why?
I got an idea, but I'd rather you go ahead and share with us.
Institutional control.
Yep.
Control the institutions, you drive the society wherever you want it to go. That's how a 60-pound bulldog can flip a 2,000-pound bull.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Flip, you change the center of gravity to your angle using the social layout. You lay the society out by systems. You give the illusion of power and control you got that from Machiavelli. You give them uniforms. The uniforms give you the appearance of legitimacy.
Commercial.
And just because they got a uniform don't mean they blow here.
What and does that not symbolize something what we just saw with them with the inside job political hit with the folks up there in Minnesota that just got whacked? That sounds like the same thing you're talking about right now.
Really a deep state war. Deep state versus black hats versus white hats. That's all it is.
No, that's what
a civil war on the inside of the bitch ass corporation.
Which also happened on No King's Day.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Not a coincidence.
And was that not the night after the strawberry moon?
Yeah.
What do
because
we have here?
it's a representation of moonfall. The sleep spell is starting to, be manipulated.
That's also a series on was it Netflix, Moonfall?
Yeah. Yep.
Remember really and in there the key character meets Tawaret, Big Mama.
I have to check that. I never saw it. I'm gonna check that out.
I've seen it one time, but I did a breakdown on it.
It's a series.
Series? Okay, I'm gonna check it out.
What I'm talking about is a series.
Oh, there's a series. Okay. But yeah, in the movie, it really just shows you that, the moon is really a celestial megastructure. That's all it was basically demonstrating.
A big ass spaceship.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, got told
Zulu mythology, Credo Mutwa, he'd tell you in the inception of time, it wasn't no damn moon. All you had was gray skies.
That's the Lilith story from the Hebrews.
Yeah.
When our night sky was lit up with the light from the moon Lilith, which is the moon of Saturn, we was in a different orbit for one.
Okay.
And what they call the asteroid belt was part of the Earth. This was when it was Tiamat, right? It was like 2/3 the size it is now.
Fact.
And the part that's knocked off of it became the asteroid belt, which was part of the war with the Maldekians from Mars. From I think it was the moon of Mars the Maldekians come from, Europa.
Yeah,
The
because that's what
frozen
caused
moon.
that, and that's what caused that big gash in the Grand Canyon, if I'm not mistaken, right? Parts of some of the ships or parts of some of
The
the
Grand
it was like some
Canyon was carved out with water.
so that didn't happen from
When the
go ahead.
original Temple of Isis was there, it was a water world. All of those temples sit above the canyon, right? But as the waterfall, they begin to build caves in the sides of the canyon. And by looking at the caves that's built in the side of the canyon, and then you could actually see the strata as the water receded over time.
So that sounds just
Right.
like the in Kemet.
California was an island until they blocked off they built a dam, but it don't look like a dam. It just looked like a bunch of rocks at a coastline. And if it was like a river, it was like a river between mainland America and California. That's why they keep thinking it's gonna fall into the ocean, but it's not gonna fall into the ocean. That dam got a lifespan. When that dam break, that water coming back, and it's gonna look like California back in the ocean, the island again.
Yep, y'all watch that movie. What was it? Escape from LA.
Yeah.
They show
And
you.
I was just watching the fight for is it called the Battle of Los Angeles or the Fight for Los Angeles, something like that. I was just watching that yesterday, and I was looking at and peeping the symbolism that was in that movie as well. And it's really, to me, I feel like that one came out in 2011. They're literally showing us right now, like they prepared that movie for what's happening right now. That movie came out in 2011, but right now they're talking about everything that's happening now in 2025.
They show you in Terminator Genesis 2 when John Connor comes back from the future and fights his old self. And it takes you all the way in between the years of 2027 to 2029. So this is also in alignment with the prophecy of popes, because the allegory is 2027 is the so-called end of the world, which is not really the end of the world. It's really just a shift in power. So it's the end of the age. So it's the end of the 6,000 verification period of the beast system.
End of the cycle. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's deep. That's real. Okay, so now there's so much going on. So now when it comes to does the ice raids and all this bullshit that they're doing with the Mexican and Spanish people, whatever, like does all that kind of play into what we're experiencing now? Or how, like, what does that have to do with any of this? Or does it have anything to do with any of this?
That's all of the theatrical enactment of what energies is being utilized.
So pretty much to keep your attention to that instead of what's really happening.
Yeah. Not just so much of that. You got to look at the players in the activity. Right? You can't believe it's real if you have chaos on one coast and a parade on the other coast.
Right.
Make that make sense.
Right.
Make that make sense. Please make it make sense for me.
No, but that's considered the twin pillars.
Yep.
The riots is symbolic of fall of California.
Yep.
Right? The fall of Hollywood, Petalwood.
Yep.
The military parade is basically an invasion of the republic to seize the corporation and to show a sense of a presence of force to the ones that's trying to resist. You're gonna get down or you're gonna lay down.
Yep, it's really
now when you say, go ahead, Bdell.
Now I was just telling you, everything they're doing is really causing chaos to create technocratic sorcery, because they want to build smart cities in LA by 2028.
Yeah.
So that's the main goal. So a lot of these people are really agent provocators. They being paid $200 to mess up, everything at these protests. $200 a day.
We still can't get none of the people to tell us why every time they tell us it's going to be a riot is it pallets of bricks strategically located at the riot sites.
Mm. But is that not the same what they're doing in Chicago? I don't know if they still are, but they were like leaving cars with like literally cars with guns and all kind of ammo and all that, like just laying like leaving them in the street so brothers can get hold of them and go to war with each other. Is that not the same thing?
Yeah. It's called Black Box Enterprise. It's based out of a California thing when they was putting them black boxes in California. And storage boxes, just dropping them on the street. And the kids was finding out what was in them because they wasn't locked. And then they go back, told their big brothers, and they said, let's get money.
You know the main reason why they do that shit in Chicago, though? Because for one, Chicago's an energy center.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where a lot of master teachers come from. And it's also in alignment with the Big Dipper star constellation. So the reason they put those guns out there like that, they know that Chicago is like one of the poorest school systems in the school union. And that there's not a lot of lucrative job opportunities. So it's kind of like one of those things that kind of keep you, you know, economically disenfranchised. It's a destabilization war tactic.
Yeah.
To keep you fighting amongst each other so you don't have a so-called rise of a, you know, black messiah. Because like places like St. Louis, Chicago, Philly,
Detroit,
Detroit, these are all energy centers.
Harlem.
All in alignment with, you know, the Big Dipper star constellation.
So that tell you right there what you just said, Bdell. That tell you unequivocally that we've been walking in them centers on that energy for thousands of years because we always knew the energy centers was there.
Facts.
This is why we got mounds everywhere.
Facts.
And then the mounds is how we know that it's sacred ground.
Yeah, because Cahokia is right there in Illinois, which is not too far from Chicago, correct?
Yeah.
Then you got Carbondale, Illinois, because when you look at the word carbon, and then you got Little Egypt, and then it's the 618 area code. 3 6 together is an 18. So they already know what's going on. They just tell you through signs and symbols. You got to understand the codes, just like, you know, Big Chief was talking about. You got to understand the symbolism. Everything's right in your face already. You just got to understand the codex. And that's because anything that's especially on that landmass right there, that's also where the New Madrid fault line, where they had that 2023 solar eclipse at, which was the black sun that represents that anarchy symbol, which was the Antichrist sigil or whatever. There's many different ways to look at it. It's a multi-dimensional symbol, but
it's also the Alpha and Omega.
Yep, the 19, right? Or even when you look at it from Kemetic spirituality, it's a representation of the crook and the flail, or Aries and Libra, right? It's the same thing. A lot of people are just not understanding the codex because those signs and symbols also correspond with numerical sequences. So a lot of times the thing is, when they see numbers, you're really seeing letters, and when you see letters, you're really seeing numbers. That's all it is.
Can you say that again for the people in the back, Bdell? I get it, but I think like that was dope.
No, I was saying like a lot of times when you see letters, you're really looking at numbers, and when you're looking at numbers, you're really looking at letters. It depends on how they give it to you. Just like when you go to a lot of these downtown monuments or whatever, you got these monolithic structures downtown, and they got like time capsules. Those time capsules, the year on the time capsule is not really a year; it's a code. We got one that is supposed to be opened in the year of 2045, and then when you break down the codex, it really means in the year of light, the brothers the true Masons is gonna get back to planet. That's what it basically displays. So many words. Yeah.
That's deep. So how does all of this fall into alignment from astrological or cosmic level, considering all the different movements and all the different like alignments and all the different activity that we see with the solar flares, and we see with the eclipses, with the strawberry moons, like the solstices? Like, how does all that kind of correlate to what we're seeing and experiencing from the cosmic level, but also here on the planetary level?
It's as above, so below.
I show you.
If you know how to read the stars, then all you got to do is watch until you learn how to read how the stars affect what's going on the ground. It's just like everybody know when a full moon happens, some bullshit gonna go down.
And that's real. That's
the
real too.
parasites act up on them full moons.
Yeah,
Which made them develop a term called lunacy.
Yeah, because anybody who's ever worked in a hospital can tell you about that. That's real. That really happens on full moons.
On full moons, they double up the staff in the ER. Because somebody finna act a fool because they can't control that feminine energy, especially the men. Because he can't control his masculine energy, his feminine energy make him crash out.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's deep. Shout out to Kelsey LC. Who declares war on their people? Well, we're not their people. The people that declared the war. That's why they did, because we're not their people. Do one of y'all want to?
That's the great illusion right there. Is to make us believe that we part of their victory.
Right.
We not part of their victory. We not part of America. We not part of none of the stuff they got going on in DC.
Facts.
They just imposing their will on us because they got guns and we don't. That's why they was fighting so hard to ban the right to bear arms. They didn't want to get rid of it for the good old boys. They wanted us to not have a right to bear arms, so they wanted us defenseless. Everywhere where the people who don't have a right to bear arms, the people are defenseless against the tyranny of government. And this is what has kept these suckers from doing a full-fledged lockdown slave system across the land, because there's too many good old boys. Now there's too many good old boys and homeboys with heavy artillery, but the heavy artillery they got ain't nothing compared to what their military got. Their military got secret weapons for quiet war.
Yeah.
You would think that you wanted to shoot your homeboy because he looked like the enemy, and all the time they planted that thought in your head with a projection module. And then you realize, oh, damn, I shot my homeboy. I ain't mean to do that.
Yeah.
I don't turn on man.
Yeah.
Oh, man, how the hell I shoot my homeboy?
Okay, how does because we when we talk about war, excuse me, we really are at war in a lot of different ways. How do we determine or differentiate the different types of attacks and the different types of elements that are being used with war? And when I say that, I mean because you have people out here who are using sound wave technology or frequency, you know what I'm saying, attacks and strategies. They got mind control. You have these devices, the technology can penetrate the mind and the subconscious. So we're being inundated with so many different levels of attacks, right? How do we know, or how can we protect ourselves from a lot of these attacks that are happening in regards to the different types of
We
strategies?
become susceptible to them when we don't know who that voice is in our head talking. You should know your voice in your head. You should know your mama voice in your head, your daddy voice in your head, your sibling. So when you doing something and you hear a voice in the head, that ain't no familiar voice. That ain't me. Right? This is why they keep saying the knowledge of self. Man, know thyself. Because once you know you, even the nature of what's being told to you to do is going against your nature, you're going to be resistant to it.
Facts.
Right? That's like Puffy. You don't send no straight dude to bring down a whole field of sissies.
Right.
You send a freak. Y'all laughing, I'm dead serious. You send a freak to catch a freak.
Right.
I am too. And I'm glad you said that. Real quick, I'm gonna bring this. I started this comment because I wanted to answer this one personally. So I'm not sure who this Mother Tree and Moon is, but they said first time here. Just want to know if this is more FBA crowd or the L or BLM. I get it. It's no disrespect, but this is a crowd of upliftment, empowerment, and we ain't with the bullshit. We here and we ready to do whatever it takes by any means necessary for us to get equality and to get control over all of our collective experiences as a people. That's the type of crowd that you have. So all
I don't
that
want
other stuff,
equality. I want my birthright.
Right. We want the
taking shit
land.
back where and putting it back where it rightfully belongs. Let's just put it that way then. But that's what you're dealing with when you're dealing with this crowd. Like we don't get tangled up into all that other stuff, but we do share what we need to for the people those who have the ears to hear and those who have the eyes to see. That's who we are. That's who we be. So I'm okay. We can jump back in. I just wanted to address that one because I held it because I did want to address it. But you're right about the Diddy thing because at the end of the day, to me, he seems as if he's just a smaller scale Epstein. So what's the difference between the two?
Epstein was an asset, just like Diddy was an asset.
And what did they do, or did they do anything for them to get flipped?
Yeah. They say Diddy bit the hand that feed him.
And I remember when he did it too. I remember the interview and everything.
Yeah, anytime that you don't want them to have jurisdiction over you, they can't really monetize off your creativity. It's kind of like the same shit that what Tory Lanez is going through, everything that Young Dolph went through, Nipsey Hussle. Anytime you try to break away from the system to where you have full autonomy over your creativity, you cut out the middleman. So there's no other forces or no type of external forces that's getting paid off your creativity. That's why if you're doing anything as far as music or acting, don't when you get that contract, cross out the word actor and artist and put creator. They already know what that means. It gives you full autonomy over your work.
You dropped the jewel with that.
Yeah,
that's real.
Look, the middleman is the only way they can steal from you.
Yep.
The artists normally love the art so much that the business part of it never crossed their mind. That's what made Michael Jackson so dangerous.
And Prince. And Sam Cooke. That's why they waxed Sam Cooke.
And Otis Redding.
Yeah. I heard
it. And it goes on.
Angie Stone.
Yeah.
Whitney Houston.
Yep.
So anytime like you cut out the middleman, like they can't monetize off of you. So it's like one of those, like you said, it's get down to lay down. It's either you play the game or you break down, you break down the system with truth. And that's why they came after Tory Lanez.
No, Tory Lanez was a fall guy for a reason. Right. Where did the girl get shot?
Was it Miami?
She got shot in her foot.
That's a Masonic. It's the Masonic ritual.
Yeah.
Now, do you mean the location of where they were, like environment, or the body?
No, where was they at? Where did she get shot at on her body?
Oh, okay.
Foot. That was supposedly her foot.
Yeah. So whatever role she was playing, that was her sacrifice to stand firm on her position, his position.
Let me ask you this, Big Chief, because my mind be running a million miles an hour, especially when I be on these calls. So I love the movie Harlem Nights. Does this have anything to do with when Quick was about to get his ass tore up and Big Mama like he shot her in the toe?
You shot me in my pinky toe.
Hey,
listen. Look, is there any kind of correlation there? Because listen, I'll never forget that part, man.
They were showing you old New York life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shooting people in the feet, it means something. And the worst thing to do, they say, is shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah. Hence that quote. Shoot yourself in the foot.
It's a Masonic code. If he didn't shoot the girl in the foot, who shot her in the foot?
Right.
Her fingerprints wasn't on the gun.
Right.
Or his fingerprint, whatever the hell he is.
Make it make sense.
So it's only one more person.
That was Meg, wasn't it?
There was another woman in the vehicle with him, but
her friend, whatever.
Supposedly she stepped on some glass. That's what she said in the
That
video.
was her original story to the police, that she stepped on glass, but they know gunshot wound from being police.
Right.
And he was like, you ain't stepped on no goddamn glass. Who shot you in the foot? Then the witnesses told who shot her in the foot. But they was on the body cams talking. They was talking to the police. The police was listening to them, taking notes while they was telling the police who shot the shot. They didn't say it was a man. On the scene at the time that it happened.
Right.
This is why the boy daddy was going bananas.
Facts. Who you think did it?
I don't know. There's only one option available left.
Right. So for
You know,
this,
so but the question is, why did they throw him to the wolves?
He was supposed to be a sacrifice, right? Or they wanted him to be a sacrifice, if I'm not mistaken.
Why did they sacrifice him?
he made $1 million off NFTs without he cut out the middleman.
Bing, 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 bing. We have a winner. He learned how to make money and make his fans make money with him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And put that shit in the public.
Can't put it on Front Street. Can't put it on Front Street.
He broke contract right there.
Yeah.
He wasn't under contract. That's what made it so bad.
Mm.
He wasn't under contract because didn't nobody want to sign him. Because they didn't believe in what he was trying to do.
Or why would they? Because they're all part of the system. You know, the corporate model.
He bypassed the system. He stepped on their toes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he stepped on their toes, they shot Megan in the foot.
Oh wow. That's
wait.
You gotta rewind that back.
Yeah, we gotta throw it in reverse. We gotta run that back. And then run it back. Some people didn't. One more time, Big Chief.
If he stepped on their toes, they shot Megan in the foot.
Yep. That makes a lot of sense. And it's kind of like the same thing they doing with Yaki. You know what I'm saying? He's been getting a lot of threats. They're trying to stop him from putting out, certain books and doing all these healing retreats and everything. Like, it's the same thing. Anytime you cut out the middleman, you're always going to be a problem because that denotes the fact that you're the glitch.
But they also have to put an obstacle in front of you so people can know where you at. It's like raising the flag.
Right.
He over here. He over here.
Right.
You ain't legit until the motherfucker come against you.
And I wanted to talk on that too because I personally have experienced I know it was my little test, but I'm like, fuck y'all niggas. And I'm gonna say that again, fuck y'all niggas, because I ain't scared. But anyway, Nick Cannon went through the same thing. Think about it. When he started doing what he was doing, you know what I mean, and like putting out consciousness, and he was working with a lot of the leaders of the the conscious community and all that, and then they went for him. And my thing is, I don't know what all that was about from his own internal introspective or internal perspective or intentions. But my thing is this: if you sign up for this life, I'm gonna quote Professor Smalls, you got to know it's freedom or death. So if you're not committed to go all in like that, you probably shouldn't come out here doing this type of work because they will come. And it's like, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? Because for me, it is what I'm from the thought of John Jacques Dessalines. Like, nigga, you leave me in the body and let me do my work. Because you fuck around and take me out, I'm really gonna work. So so fuck around and find out if you want to. And that goes back to what you say, Big Chief, about hoodoo, voodoo, like what? Ifa, like whatever you want to talk about. When you talk about the spiritual aspects of all of this is when it really gets deep, because certain people they'll mess with and they'll do whatever they can. And I feel like, unfortunately, some of those people don't have access to different levels of protection. And I feel like that's why they do what they do to certain people and how they do it.
And it's also one of those things where it's kind of like they tap Nick Cannon on the shoulder, because if you notice, ever since he did those lives with Young Pharaoh, he didn't put it on the internet. He did one with Yaki. I don't think he put that on the internet. And it seems like he's being controlled opposition now. And he's being used to surveillance certain people who is, manipulating the system with truth and healing. Anything of that, apparatus.
Oh, you know what his struggle was about, right?
What?
He chose to break the dynamic of the nuclear family.
Yep.
Or one man, one woman. They don't want us to know that if we have a sisterhood of women that they like to call a harem,
Mm-hmm.
our power, our internal power
increases
from a group of women loving us
significantly,
make us so much more creative, artistic, and overall powerful.
Yes, sir.
Right. And when we come through, some of us come as a family redeemer.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are approached by a rightful heir and they solicit you, that's she in your club. As the family redeemer, you gotta protect her interests like they was your own.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they don't want you to know about the old systems that they trying to keep us away from. They trying to inhibit the spiritual power that the men get from the women.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If the women can live in harmony, a sisterhood, they focus all that mitochondrial force to his mitochondria. Right. And that's how you empower him to be a great conqueror. He can conquer without ever raising the knife. Just by marrying the right women. That's how King Solomon got so powerful.
Yeah. Genghis Khan.
The energy of the woman is gonna put that energy in your back. She's gonna put that battery in your back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same concept, you know, when you're playing football, when you was playing basketball, when you was a little kid, and the girls come in, and then all of a sudden you want to show off your moves or whatever. The same thing takes place when you're trying to build civilizations.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You gotta impress the matriarch. You know,
the Taj Mahal is a prime example.
Yeah.
Prince wanted to stunt for his wife.
Yeah.
She was just one of the wives in his harem, but she was the one who had his heart. So he wanted to stunt for her, so he built her the Taj Mahal. She never got to see it finished before she died. So he turned it into her mausoleum.
Yeah, the woman gonna put that battery in your back for sure.
Yeah.
You know, build sustainable, civilizations.
And even from the ancestral realm, because shout out to the guy, he was on last, I think Wednesday or Thursday, dropping some dope heat in regards to like business and organizations. But he lost his wife. He about to new to her, but and I could still feel the pain and the energy, with him being passionate about doing the work. And I feel like she was the source and the inspiration behind, him still being convicted and doing the work. So,
this is why they tell you behind every great man is a great woman.
Facts. Yes, sir.
Right. In the street game, you ain't no pimp if you ain't got no bottom hoe. Right. She the foundation in which his empire is built.
Facts.
But in the street game, he don't choose her. She choose him. He don't turn her out. She turned him out. Go back to the map. Remember that song? I choose you. That's what they talking about. So the power in the streets, listen, the power in the streets is given to the man to be a purveyor of women.
Right.
The power in the palace is given to the king by the queen and the queen mother. The queen mother is the mother of the king. The queen is the one that she appointed as his first consort. Right? Once they consummate the power, they activate the magic. Once the magic is activated, you can't turn back now. Too late, baby. Now it's too late.
Listen. Let me ask you this, because this is on topic but off a little bit, but I feel like it fits. So, because this is some real shit too. Like I see a lot about all the people and all the brothers, who talking about polygamy and polyamorous and da da da. I get it. I know that there is a real, true, bona fide, legitimate reason behind why, you know what I'm saying, we would move in that direction. But one of the things that I found, this is from personal conversations with men and women, primarily even more so from the women, is that a lot of the brothers are doing that just to have sex and not doing it for the sake of building legacy, right? But let me ask y'all this, because for
He's not
me,
qualified.
there you go. Because what I was gonna say is, for me, as a young man, from the time I was kicking it with chicks from a young teen, preteen, whatever, all the way till I think I was about 26, 27 before I got into my first real relationship, because I knew I wasn't ready. And I'm not gonna sell you no pipe dreams, and I'm not gonna bullshit you. I'm gonna keep it a buck. If we're gonna move how we move, let's move how we move. And if you're cool with that, let's get it. If you're not, I respect it. But I was real and I kept it 100 and I told the truth. So with that, it didn't like go against anything for me. Like, it didn't slow me down, it didn't hold me down. If anything, I feel like it worked in my favor, because there was times when females was like, nah, I ain't rocking with that. But then they mess around and keep playing with these slime balls and these scumbags who lying and selling wolf tickets. They're like, well, shit, I might as well rock with him, because at least he keeping it in the buck with me. I know what it is, and he real. So it's like, for me, I feel like if you're moving with integrity and you're moving on truth, I feel like it could be successful. But a lot of people not
The
doing that. So
women,
can you?
the women is the one who build the harem. She just send you the sisters of the harem for you to test them and see if she gonna be able to get along with the rest of the sisters and if she gonna be harmonious in the family. This is just the story of 1,001 Arabian Nights, which the lady was scared that because the princess, every time he got done with a chick, he have her beheaded. So every night she decided to tell him a different story to keep him from beheading her. She would always leave a cliffhanger, right? And say, we'll finish it tomorrow for 1,001 nights.
Look, she became a whole Ronda Rhymes out this thing, boy.
Right, but that's straight game from a women's perspective.
Right.
Because
they're the hardest players out.
she learned how to make her presence desired by the crown prince. More so than the other women who he put to death. Whatever they did, they had made him so frustrated that he wanted their head. Now think about women today and say, what type of woman would make me want to take her head? Right? And then it's going to show you one that won't shut up, always accusing you of something, always got negative stuff to say about you, but she supposed to love you.
Right.
She a fraud. So if she a fraud, you send her to the gallows. But the genuine one is going to try to find out, how do I get to this motherfucker heart? I just got to get to his heart. If his heart can see my heart, I'm good. Right? You not finna be at the top of the game and not have a powerhouse of a woman with you, or you not gonna last.
That's facts.
Right? A lot of us, it be our mamas. It be our mamas pushing us to greatness, or our sisters, our favorite auntie. You know what I'm saying? But then there's a small handful of us, there's daddy's boys. And we gonna do it to prove I got my daddy's genes. I'm cut like Pops. I'm a chip off the old block.
Yep. Divine alignment right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, we know the ancestors, the spirit of the ancestors is always present here, man. That's real. Like, even so much so, I can't remember who it was, but somebody like, shout out to everybody because of wearing black, all black. Like, this is never pre-rehearsed. Not one time have we ever spoke about clothes or any of that. But that just goes to me. It shows the divine alignment. And Big Chief, even the tribute to Malcolm episode that we did, it was like 5 different people on that panel. And I promise the guy, you would have thought we all called each other like, yo, I'm rocking this, I'm rocking that, I'm rocking. No, that's divine alignment. But it looked like we all coordinated. Even the comments was like, y'all like a big happy family. Like, it was like we talked about what we was gonna wear, but we don't. But that's the energy though. Like, when it's divine,
frequency,
it's divine. Just go online. That's real.
Yeah, I just put on a t-shirt because I was rushing out the door, go to the barbecue, and I ain't want to wear no white beater.
Right.
You and me both. Look, I just got home from playing ball, and trying to dust off the old glory days, and I was like, damn, I gotta hurry up, get ready. Let me throw something real quick, throw something together. But that just goes to show, like, real talk, how divine the alignments are, man, and how it all, it all just it flows. When you're in alignment, it flows. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well. There's a lot. There's. Whew. Okay, so let me ask y'all this, Brother Rod, because I know me and Bdell spoke about it earlier before we came on, but me and him didn't really have a lot of information on it. So I'm wondering if you did. But have you heard anything about? I think they found like some ancient alien artifacts or something to do with ancient extraterrestrial aliens or something like that in Tulum. Did you hear anything about that? Tulum, Mexico.
Look, they didn't find so much extraterrestrial stuff in Mexico that's ancient. I don't even know which particular fad you're talking about.
They just found a new crop circle in Mexico too. It looks like an indigenous feather too. It's like it looks like a sun, but it looks like a multitude of indigenous feathers around it.
You said it was in Mexico?
Yeah, supposedly it's in Mexico. Yep.
Was it in a cornfield or a wheat field?
I think it was a wheat field.
Let me see if I can find it real quick too.
Oh, let me go. Let me check.
Let's see. I'm waiting for it now to pull up. But yeah, it's definitely it's a lot. It's a whole lot going on. A whole lot going on. So how does the I know we touched on it, but like how does the strawberry moon symbolize, what was it? You said it was the
it represents the harbinger. It's the harbinger of destruction, really transformation.
Okay. Got you. Now, does because there's a summer solstice coming up in a few days too, does any of this kind of tie into like what we're experiencing in regards to all the other activity?
Well, you look at you got the vernal and the autumn equinox and the summer solstice. All those together create the royal arc. So that represents Goma Ars Dabar, which is wisdom, strength, and beauty. So the apex of the summer solstice represents strength. Strength in the energy of the sun. So this is where we transition into where we're the sun is at solar maximum, which will hit around the time of July. Yeah.
I sure. Yeah.
But it's in a cornfield. Sorry. Yeah, it's in a cornfield.
No, it's all good.
I had to ask because if it was a message for the tribes, it had to be in a cornfield.
Yeah, I just looked at it now. It's in a cornfield. Yeah.
I'm trying to pull it up. What did you say it looked like, Bdell? Because I pulled up a bunch of them. I want to make sure I get the right one.
I don't know.
Like a reef?
Yeah, it looks like a circle. It's like a sun, and it's got it looked like the ends of a feather. It's a whole bunch of.
I think I found it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if this is it. I might have found it. I'm gonna screenshot it, and then I got to convert it because the platform won't let me pull it up. Okay, I'm gonna see can I pull that up to convert it into to get it to the stage. But yeah, there's a lot of them crop circles going on too. And even when we were speaking about earlier about communication, right, in regards to like how we're able to communicate if you know Morse codes or the mental nature, or if you know the science or the Odu of E5, like all these they're all different ancient encrypted codes, right? So if I'm not mistaken, as far as my research brings me, these crop circles are also encrypted codes or messages, right, coming from extraterrestrial civilizations or beings. Is that not correct? Or like, what's the purpose or the reasoning for crop circles?
Those are a lot of them are coded messages that's being sent through an energy portal. Right? And the energy portal just so happened to have an electromagnetic wave that could lay the crops down and form the letter, symbol, or a lot of it is Enochian alphabets too, or something similar.
Is that it, Bdell?
No, that's not it. That looked like a bicentennial symbol.
Okay, I'm gonna see can I find the one you was talking about too.
That look like a bicentennial sigil.
Okay, I'm gonna keep looking too, see if I can find it. But nah, yeah, that's deep. It's real deep. Okay, so excuse me. So where we are right now, right? Where do no? In fact, before I go there, what does the smart cities have to do with this, Bdell? I know you just dropped one, I think like a couple of days ago, where you was getting into a lot of this stuff, and you was talking about smart cities. I'm like, how does all that play into what we're experiencing now, and why?
Technocratic sorcery, mass control. That's what they want to use. They want to destabilize humanity, and with chaos and order. So that's why I was saying, and all these afflictions is nothing but Babylonian theatrics. But the end goal is actually the sustainable development goals. Technocratic sorcery. That's all they're doing. Mass surveillance over humanity with the Neuralink. It's really just like a police state on steroids. It's like an ultra-nationalist cybernetic dictatorship. That is their form of a synthetic golden age. Merging humans with machine. That's all.
What is the inspiration behind the over?
You ever see George Jetson?
Yeah.
George Jetson.
Yep.
George Jetson from the Jetsons cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him.
Okay. In George Jetson, they in the space age, right?
Yeah.
And when they go inside the house, everything is automated, right?
Yeah.
He could tell the thing to clean the dishes. He could tell the thing to bring the food, what he want to eat. All that's called space age technology. If you look at a smart city and it's designed to be space age technology. The only thing was the fallen regime wanted to use it as space age slavery, but we wanted to go into the golden age, space age, with our autonomy intact, with our rights of self-determination unrestricted, right? For our sovereignty to be respected. But in order to be respected, you got to be respectable. So in the Jetsons, you see the space age story they've been preparing us for. Science, it's a magazine called Popular Science. And they got stories all through the 90s of how they was trying to automate cities. And smart cities is the first wave of space age development in modern times, where the space age technology is put on display in a smart city. Everything that's dealing with computers is called smart. And the smart is a computer acronym. And when you realize that the computer is based on the human brain, you already interfaced with the technology. You just have to be upgraded. Right. That's why your 12-strand DNA became a 2-strand. The upgrade downsizes the bulkiness of the object. We don't have to be 300 feet no more. Yeah, it was giants here. We was them. It was giants here. We was walking around. We was giants. We had 12 strands of DNA though. So we was bulky. We used up excessive amounts of oxygen and put excessive amounts of carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. Just like the dinosaurs, and we never caused global warming.
Right.
So why would the carbon now cause global warming when we was giants? Shoot, we was exhaling 100 times more carbon per person than we do now.
Right.
We was much larger. But when the 12 strands begin to be broke down or upgraded, and it's normally done through ultraviolet radiation, and then it downsizes the structure because now you can put more information on less codons. Now you have to just figure out how are we going to train ourselves to use the new technology or the new physiology that we developed as we upgrade it, according to the solar flares and the Schumann resonance telling us to upgrade. Right? The solar flare is going to mutate the cell. And the Schumann resonance is going to tell you how to repair, put it back in order for the next genetic stock to be developed from us.
Facts. And those smart cities is being weaponized to create light code lockdown. And then, you know, and when you look at the inception of time, even when they talking about, you know, how the so-called God of the Bible created the heavens and the earth in Genesis chapter 1-3, when he was talking about the firmament, right? It's the same thing. It's a technology. It's a technology.
The firmament is the Pleiadian light lock.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I think it's in Psalms where it actually who can break the bands of the Pleiades. Right? And outstrip something of the Arcturians. Because that's who put us in the light lock so that we can fight this war out.
The Arcturians or the Pleiadians?
The Pleiadian light lock.
Yeah.
We know it as the Van Allen belt.
Gotcha.
The Van Allen belt is a belt of radiation. And this is why stuff coming in the atmosphere is consumed by fire. Because it's being altered molecularly by the radiation of the Van Allen belt. And that accelerated movement of molecules causes spontaneous combustion.
Especially if you got too much sulfur in your DNA.
Oh yeah, we going in tonight. So let me ask you this, because from where my research brings me, I know there are a group of Pleiadians that, if I'm not mistaken, they're called like the Seven Sisters or something like that, that's connected to ancient Kemet. So are there two factions of the Pleiadians, like the Anunnaki, where there's a good set and a bad set, or like are they all the same? Or like, what's the difference between these Pleiadians?
Pleiadians are not good or bad. They just masters of light magic and love magic. That's it. They don't care about using dark forces and dark energy. They are the masters of light magic. How to bend the rays of light to form radiation barriers is Pleiadian light magic. The Arcturians, right, who is the supporting conjure, is the reason we need the moon. Because they have to use day magic, which is not light magic, right? But it's a Arcturian coded magic. And they support the Pleiadian light lock. That was done by the Galactic Council in the first war in heaven when they all landed on Earth. What the do you think we all here for?
Right.
If Michael and his angels fought the dragon and his angels, and he cast them to Earth, where do you think they went? They tell you be careful how you treat a stranger. You might entertain angels unaware. I mean, they look like us.
Right.
They look like people. But we don't know who they is because we don't recognize their works. Because the only way you can tell the tree is by the fruit that it bear. That include the leaves and the bark. Right? So if you don't know how to read the tree, you won't never know how to respect the fruit.
That's right. So how does where's the correlation between the Pleiadians, Orion's belt, and then ancient Kemet? Because I know there's some sort, if I'm not mistaken, there's some sort of connection that the Pleiadians, is it just the light and the stars? Or like, how does that apply in?
Look, the blueprint manual is called the Holy Drama or the Osirian Resurrection. This is the map to exit the Pleiadian light lock. The instructions is given to the Orianos, the golden ones. And the golden ones is protected by the Syrians, the Black Dog, the Guardian.
The dog star.
So we see Sirius, we see Dogon culture. We don't know that the Hopi over here is the mirror culture. It's the American version of the Hopi.
Yeah, they are.
Dogon. Same science, different landmass. Right? So they given the map to exit out of the light lock by conquering what we call in the modern times evil. Evil is anything that's in opposition to your greater good. The devil mean your enemy. It's warfare. Right? Religion got us on all these ships. Worship is the warship.
Right.
One more time. Warship.
That's
Warship.
not correct spelling. It's APE. APE.
Oh, it's not. Okay, let me swap it out. But warship, you said warship, because you're talking about
worship is the warship.
Right, but you're using a double entendre, and so I want to make sure that people get what you're saying, because that's high level shit. so warship, WORSHIP, and then warship warship WORSHIP, and then warship WARSHIP. Can you kind of break down the two and how they correlate?
All vowels are interchangeable in the English language when you're translating the word into English from a foreign language. Worship and warship come from the same Old English origin. So to translate it into modern English, it's the same word. The worship, because the clergy is the first wave of the attack.
It's a war strategy.
Yeah.
It was.
And the ship aspect is the jurisdiction, the admiralty, the water. Right? The conquest of Poseidon with the trident. Rising from the ocean's depth, unleash the Kraken. Right? The worship they had you doing in church is the honor to being on their ship of war. They using you to fight their war against you, which you don't know that you fighting yourself. Because you trapped on the warship and you don't know how to get off. So you thinking by behaving with the edicts of war and submitting to your master that that's how you gonna win your freedom. It's not gonna never happen. Because as soon as your master see you obey, he become aggressively abusive, sociopathic in disposition, a psychopathic racial personality developed from an Iceman inheritance.
Yeah, there's a whole book on that too. I got that book, The Iceman's Inheritance. Very deep book too, because it talks about how when they were in the Caucasus Mountains, and then when they came out with all the vengeance and the rage and the fuckery that they've been pillaging and raping and pillaging the planet with ever since they came out of there. That's a powerful statement. Very
Look,
powerful.
if they got a Iceman inheritance and they inherited that disposition, and you a civilizer that's responsible in curing them from that affliction, the only thing that you can do is put them in a position for them to go through a catharsis. Going through a catharsis, you exercising all of that evil shit. You bring it out your system and you acting it out in real life. If Yakub grafted the devil and he knew that the devil was going to have this disposition, because he knew it when he created it, because he created them to be your enemy.
Right.
So he knew what their disposition was going to be. And then he left Negroes in charge. Right? So the Negroes that he left in charge is responsible for burning off what we call the negative karma of the Iceman inheritance through catharsis by putting them in a pseudo position of power to allow them to rule, because every ethnic race had to have a chance to rule. Their time is up. Our time is now. We gave them their 15 minutes of fame.
Right.
Right. But what we didn't realize is that once they are exorcised of them so-called demons, right, it was 10 demons and 7 spirits. But the 10 demons, a demon is a daemon. Daemon is a thought form, an egregore, right, which means that it was something created in the mind. 7 spirits, the spirit mean breath. So that means it was 7 people that was breathing the breath that created the egregore. It was a 7-sister flip.
Mm.
Now, check this out. What's deep? When you said what you just said, for anybody who's ever sent an email that was not able to process or go through, you received a message that came back to you, a bounce back that mentioned the word daemon, or whatever. Is that the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The origin of the word is a thought form. It's the same source and origin as the word genius, which comes from the root word gen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But they switch it up from G to J, or they use them interchangeably.
And sometimes they spell it DJ.
Or the Jao, the same thing. Is that what you kind of referring
No,
to?
like Gina, spelled DJINA. That's another name for the jinn. In Arabic, sometimes it's spelled DJINN. Right? So the reason that is because it's telling you the story, and you have to find out where the pieces go in your book of life.
Mm-hmm.
We all got a book of life, which allow us to go through life and find out and discover the self. This is what it's all about.
Yeah.
So in the George Washington challenge, we had to educate ourselves out the condition while they deny us education. We had to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, but they wasn't going to let us have boots. They was going to take all our boots and deny us from being able to purchase boots. Right? So we can't financially come up because they got us blocked. We can't educationally come up. So how do we get educated? We got to figure out how to create a brotherhood. Inner stage right, Prince Hall, Blue House. So then they spread to the Greek fraternities using the Boule philosophy. How do you get the message to the king when you can't talk to the king?
Right.
You play it out in theatrical performance, right? You put it in dance and song, and you become the jester in the court. But you do it from afar so the king can see the performance, but he don't have to be in the room.
Black nobility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you see all of them stomp fests, when they be going to do the stomp off for the fraternities and sororities, that's the equivalent of tribal dancing.
God. Yes,
The
sir.
only ones that's gonna do tribal dances is the ones from America and the ones from Africa. The ones from Europe don't do tribal dances. They do soldier marches.
Right.
They do drills.
Ain't that just what Putin would just had with his with their ceremony when he invited Ibrahim Traore when he had that big display over there in Russia not too long ago? Didn't they just do that? Something similar to that?
He gave him a whole hero's welcome.
Yeah.
That ain't no accident. Ibrahim Traore is doing for Africa what we need to be doing over here. But because the ones of us that's in them positions of power is Snoopy Brown Nose.
Right.
Turncoat double agents. But my man said I grew up with that. Now he right trying to ride. Double agent for the other side. That's why my Glock be so judgmental. Backseat of the rental. Keep my name out your dental.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, boy. And I'm trying to find a comment, man, because I saw somebody. Let me see if I start. I saw somebody had put a comment about something in regards to about like this information comes from the writer of Star Wars, George Lucas. No, George Lucas got this information from our teachers, from our texts. You go look at the walls of Kemet, anywhere else the hell you want to look.
George Lucas got Star Wars straight out of the Anunnaki tablets.
Yeah.
From us. Like at the end of the day. Like that's nothing new. Like it's just that they didn't whack him because they figured out how he can get money with them. But our teachers that put this out, the Dr. Yorks, the Dr. Blairs, and those masters of the world, they got attempted assassinations or assassinated, or they got locked up. Because they were putting the truth out, and there was no way that they could take a turn to monetize it like they did with marijuana. When they figured out how to monetize it, that's when they made it legal, because they can get money off of it.
What's the common denominator in 99% of all abductions?
What is it?
Genetic testing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why we wasn't getting abducted? Why people like us didn't need to be tested, or the DNA didn't need to be tested? Who is these people testing these people DNA, and why they don't want the DNA of the melanated people of the earth?
Well, based on my independent research, when you're talking about the Greys, particularly, they're really like a Frankenstein extraterrestrial species they put together, so they don't have the ability of reproduction. So they got together, so they come to this planet to take other.
Hold on. Let's analyze what we're saying now.
Okay. All right.
Why, if they can't reproduce, why is it so many of them?
Because they're creations, they're hybrids. They're pretty much there. What in the spiritual space?
Hold on, stop. They can't reproduce.
Right.
How is it so many of them? It's a way it can happen. But I need you to focus in on what we're saying. They can't reproduce, but it's everybody see them on every ship. Even the people that see the tall grays, they got the little grays with them. Right. That's a template. When they see the big hairy beings, they got the little grays with them. When they see the golden ones, they still got the little grays with them. All of the aliens have little grays with them, and they can't reproduce. There's too many of them. The only way they can do them like that is clone. All right. The next thing is they originally used to look like the sign. Right? But that ain't why they genetic tested. Why did the pale man come to America?
To rape and pillage the land.
No, because we was already getting raped and pillaged before they came.
Oh, okay, I get it. So, like the black mobility used them as pets, just like the rest of the species, the beings that you're talking about use the grays. I got you.
So, in this process, based on what's written in the tablets, they had to get a drop of the blood of the original people. They had other extraterrestrial royalty flying the earth in the early years. This is why you have more information in ancient writings about extraterrestrial communication than modern writings, because they had to give you enough time to clean up the great debauchery, the great genetic waste spill. And to make sure that it's cleaned up, you got to test the ones that look like what you need cleaned up. They ain't got to test us, because they know if your melanin is this dark, they already know you can see and your ascension rights is intact.
Right.
But those other people, they didn't know that until like around 1999, they gave them clearance. They got enough of the blood of the royal families of the earth and a couple of other places that they got the ascension rights. Now they have to break past the calcified pineal process. And this is why since 2000, information has been coming out at an alarming rate in order to stimulate their brain so much that it busts that calcification off the pineal. They've been getting light language information. Right? Now they've been trying to develop this over the 100-year period from the spiritualist movement of the late 1800s and early 1900s. They was working up systems to break the calcification, but they was also trying to develop a means to get them to amalgamate with the original people. And that's where J. Rogers' writings come in, because he tell you that at first we wouldn't even look at each other. We had no interest. They had to manufacture interest. How do you manufacture interest where there is no interest? you forbid the interest that you want. And this is where you come up with your black codes.
Yep.
Everything that they want you to do, but they can't force you to do, they restrict you from doing it so you can rebel against them and do what you wanted to do anyway. It's reverse psychology 101, just the basics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's facts. Shout out to Jedi Sage. We appreciate your family for the support. Advanced class mere mortals motherfuckers tap out. That's real though, because he definitely in an advanced class tonight, buddy. This is very advanced, high level conversation for sure. You know what? And I'm glad. I wish I would have thought about it. I meant to look this up before we got on, but hopefully y'all seen this. But there was a show that came out, and if I'm not mistaken, excuse me, I want to say it might have been a Marvel show. I can't remember, but anyways, it had Samuel L. Jackson in it as like one of the lead characters. But in this particular show, it was about them and then reptilian beings who there was a factious of positive reptilians and then negative reptilians, but reptilians was a major forefront of this show. Did y'all see that series?
I've seen it before. I didn't watch I didn't finish all of it, but I know what you're talking about.
That's a good series, but when I saw that, I was so blown that I'm like, yo, people would think that that's just a show, but I'm like, yo, they putting the truth like right here in real time in our faces, like, and I don't know how many people really know how truthful that is.
They can tell you exactly what happened in the situation and change it from nonfiction to fiction and write different names, and you won't never know they told you the whole story.
That's facts.
Because they have to put it in the public domain. Because your right of discovery in the free will universe have to be honored for you to be kept in servitude.
Exactly.
I'm down to 8%, nephew.
I got you. Yeah, we're gonna get ready to wrap it up because we definitely burnt the whole net and YouTube down for sure. I got a question real quick. I'll do like one or two questions if you got it, and then we can get up out of here. So one of these questions is, do we have guests in this family discussion? I think they're asking about how do white people fit into this discussion.
We just got done telling you. Literally.
Right.
We literally just got done telling you what they role was. So when you get off, go back from this part, rewind it about 5 minutes and listen to it again.
Listen, that's funny because part of it's on me too, because it's a lot of chat, it's a lot of comments, y'all. So I'm trying my best to keep up. But y'all doing y'all thing. Please keep doing it. I'm not complaining by the least, but it's just a little challenge for me to keep up with all of them to stay on point in regards to the timing of them. But with that, I'll go ahead before we get out of here, man, because like I said, the first one was a classic. I knew this was going to be epic, and I mean the tribe, they already saying it too. Where do we go from here, and what are the marching orders for those who are tapped in and operating on this frequency with us?
Don't participate in no artificial riots. Don't let them see you sweat. Just ignore them. What they got going on have nothing to do with us. Right? Our non-participation collapse the system. They need our energy involved in their shenanigans in order for them to push their agenda further. We need to not participate in order for their agenda to crumble. Right? So you see brothers down there in LA sitting on bus benches while all of the paid protesters is protesting. They ain't even moving. They like watching a movie. That's what we need to be doing. We the watchers now. We just watching it go past, watching it fall, crumble. We just the watchers. We don't got to do nothing. We did everything we supposed to do when we was doing all that suffering. We ain't got to do nothing now. Just wait it out. Hurry up and wait.
Yep. And
yeah, because they're doing it to each other. It's a civil war.
Yep. Follow the path of the middle way.
Yep.
Stay on the path of Malakut and just, resurrect your own spiritual journey. Just let the house of cards fall. That's really what you got to do. It's one of those things, like I said, it's not our fight. We ain't got nothing to do with that shit.
Look, this is the last thing I want to say. We have treaties Larry got treaties with Latin counts, with El Chapo and other Mexicans from the street. Angel Bay got treaties with Latin kings and various other Spanish groups. We don't have a problem with Mexicans. What we have a problem with is participating in a fabricated false narrative that has nothing to do with the Mexicans or us. They don't have nothing to do with the Mexicans, what's going on. That's all staged. People are paid to come there that don't even live there to protest. Let that sink in. The real Mexican connection we have is with some people called the Zapatista, the people that live in the hills in Mexico that follow the teachings of Emilio Zapata, that the settlers who masquerading as Mexicans has been persecuting ever since they've been there. The Afro-Mexicans, they call the ones in the inner city. We had no problem with them. We got a problem with the fakes and the frauds, the ones that come over here and think they better than us.
Yep.
But the ones that come over here and hang out with us, brothers from a lighter shade of brown type Mexicans, we got no problem with them. They know the truth. Kareem Oahu be on here dropping more historical information on YouTube than half the brothers out here that don't know who they are, that think they know.
That's facts. Shout out to Nina to Hack. Yeah, boy. I like to say that when things get real hot and greasy and fired up around here. So she hit it. I don't know if she been watching it. That's her thing, but I be saying it. Yeah, boy. Yes, sir. Listen,
shout out to Flavor Flav, chief on the Shinnecock Nation.
Yeah, boy. Listen, on a lighter note too. That's real though, because I remember I went to Mexico years ago, and this was back when they had like the little restrictions on the cruise where if you go out, you enter at your own risk. Man, me and my pops was out there riding damn scooters all throughout the damn island. We was getting nothing but love from the Mexicans, bro. I'm talking about, and I saw them riding in pickup trucks with choppers and riding on bikes with all black with choppers on their back. They ain't mess with us not one time. We getting dapped up and getting love over there, like being real. So I don't know what they talking about, but like I said, that don't pertain to us because the ones I saw and dealt with, they ain't had nothing but love for us. So I don't know what they talking about over here with that bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I think Big Chief is
He froze?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know his he said his phone was about to die, but nah, that was a dope build, bro. So he had his last, I think, what he was about to sign off with, and then go ahead if you want to hit the people with something real quick too, Bdell. But also before we even do that, man, what's the name of the video you just dropped? Because you talked about a lot of stuff he was just sharing just now in regards to what we're seeing.
Yeah, the video I just did. Hold on, forgot the name of it. The video I just did was the 2025 to 2027, the unraveling. Yep. So I just did that. And I was just talking about the unraveling process of the fall of democracy. And it's not only subjected to the fall of the corporation, but it's subjected to the fact that you have an unraveling of DNA as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
Now, how does the unraveling of DNA like kind of play into what we're seeing and experiencing? Does it play into it, and how does it play into it?
Yeah, because human consciousness has the ability to manipulate physical matter. So the more we enhance our consciousness by way of a cosmic convergence, it dematerializes the illusion in itself. So the more you speak truth to power, because the tongue is a sword, it's esoterically connected to the heart. So words from the heart can only reach the heart. So when you speaking in love and truth, that manipulates the illusion.
That's why I
said, and it activates the forces of nature. And when you're talking about the four basic elements, earth, air, water, and fire, those are the four horsemen of the apocalypse,
yes,
right?
Sir.
So when you speak truth to power, that the harmony missions that's coming out is sending frequencies to the elements of nature. So, yep. So that's what, and then I also go into the fact that, the simulation of what they're trying to create with these smart cities, they mess up your proprioception,
Mm.
and which throws off your biorhythm that connects you to the circadian rhythm of nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the same thing. Like if you're running on the treadmill, you're not going to get the full modalities from it because it's a simulation. It's a simulation that's disconnecting you from your proprioception.
Yeah.
So that's why,
Yeah.
if you do things organically, that's what, that creates, immortalized cell lines to the fact that it enhances the frequency of the body because you're connected to the original constructs of nature.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's facts. Yeah, because I remember, like I said, I was watching yours. I remember you was talking about. Matter of fact, you shared a clip about the dude who was saying like, "Yo, they trying to pay us $200 to go out here and act the fool." You know what I'm saying? Like to throw rocks and da da da. And he even broke it down like, "This supposed to be our government." It's a white dude saying this. This supposed to be our government. Like, why are they causing us or trying to pay us to go out here and tear up our country? You know what I mean? Like, so it's deep. It gets real deep. But hey, family, check out Brother's channel first and foremost on YouTube. And then check out that one because that was a dope show. I definitely got a lot out of it, just like I do all of them, man. So shout out to you for coming through and making it do what it do. Shout out to the Big Chief. I know he lost juice on the celly, but we're gonna definitely get this thing cracking again in the very near future, man. Whenever we can align our schedules. But bro, I appreciate you. Can't thank you enough. Before we get out of here though, like let's shout out the Stone Mountain event going down on the 28th of June.
Yeah, Stone Mount, Georgia. Stone Mount, Georgia, in Atlanta is going to be some type of retreat. Everybody's going up to Stone Mountain at 5:44 a.m. So come out on the 28th. It's going to be a powerful event. It's going to be Billy Carson, I think Dr. B. Serious, Brother Rich, Red and Blue Pill, KT the Arch Degree, Vicky Dillard, Mama T. I'm going to be out there. 19 Keys and Billy Carson. Yep.
Sure.
And Sharif El Bay.
That's what's up.
And it's a free event too, by the way. So it's a retreat. Yeah.
Yes, sir. No, that's dope. Yeah, and I see some of the people, the tribe, saying they're going to be there too. I'm working on being there. I'm just going to keep it a buck because, we spoke about it off air, but I'm working on being there. I'm trying to work out things, to the best of my ability in regards to my schedule with all the different things that I have going on. But I'm going to definitely do my best to make it happen, man. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to holler at you to see about, possibly making some other things happen. But other things happening. But either way it goes, I definitely am going to still do my best to kind of make it out there, man, and chop it up with y'all and make it do what it do. But either way it goes.
Eventually, I'm going to do a video about how Stone Mountain is really the capstone of Hollow Earth. It's a granite. Yeah. It's a granite that's made of feldspar and quartz crystal.
Talk to them.
So I'm eventually I'm going to do a video talking about how Atlantis is really a derivative of Atlantis.
That's what's up.
Atlantis is a derivative of Atlantis. So I'm gonna do a video on that. Yeah,
that's what's up. Yeah, I think he's trying to be funny. He talking about watch out for. Yeah, we ain't worried about that. I could guarantee you that. So that's not a problem.
You know what? 607 he is 5'5", probably 130 pounds, and I used to box. So
listen. Listen, I was just gonna say, like, for real, like we not worried about that, y'all.
Yeah, I don't nobody worried about that.
I ain't saying I'm Superman, and I ain't saying I'm gonna be there either. Yeah, but you ain't working with no punks around these parts, man. We ain't nobody coming like, nah, we ain't doing that. Like, and not to mention, we are protected by the power of the Most High of the Universal Prime Creator. With that being said, and trust and believe, don't play with it. I rock with the mothers heavy, so you take that for whatever it's worth. But I'm telling you now, you play with it if you want to. I don't want them problems, and so if you want them, you go ahead and have them, but not me.
This is why when we was talking about a few conversations, this is why you need your dark and your light energy as we get to the next level. You can't just be love and light and think that people are not going to attack you.
What Pac say? I ain't a killer, but don't push me. Revenge is like the sweetest joy next to getting pussy. Don't play with us.
Yeah. So
we're
that's
here
why
to do the creative work.
You gotta keep your dark side. You got to be balanced because the more you speak truth to power, people are going to attack it because you're destroying their illusion.
Yeah.
And then you got advanced NPCs who's going to, you know, be agent provocators, and they're going to attack you for, you know, about what you propagate as far as the truth. So you got to have that dark energy in case, you know, things get out of hand, you know. So
it's balance, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have, like, you don't have the sun and the stars without the darkness of the cosmos. Like, we just have to have, you know what I'm saying, the levels of polarity. You got, I mean, that's just is what it is. But at the same time, when you really, really tap in, like, you can be the master of both sides of your polarity. But it's all about that balance, because you have to have the masculine and feminine. You have to have the light and the dark, and it all coincides. As above, so below, as within, so without. So that's where we are. We're here now.
facts.
We're here now. That's what's up. Okay, well, yeah, man. Do you want to anything else besides Stone Mountain that you want to drop on the good people before we roll out?
No, that's pretty much all I got as far as like events or whatever. I'm kind of trying to like figure out what's going on with the Knowledge Fest in Louisville, and I got some other stuff, but I don't want to put it out in the ethers yet. So yeah.
That's what's up. Well, man, listen, I appreciate you, brother. You already know it's always real every time we've done it. Shout out to, we got a new member.
Gratitude.
Yeah, appreciate you, family, for joining. We appreciate all the love and support. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you, brother. Like I said, I appreciate you, Big Rod, and making it do what it do. So, and Tribe, I appreciate all y'all. Appreciate everybody who was rocking with us last night, Friday night with the brother Dr. Shroom. So yeah, we definitely gonna get this thing cracking and continue to build, continue to pour in, and continue to expand, and continue to make it do what it do for all things empowerment, upliftment, you know what I'm saying, and pouring in for the elevation and the manifestation, crystallization of the universal prime creator. And so I give that, you know, and thanks to everybody who showed up, showed love, and showed support, man. We definitely appreciate you all, Tribe. Brother Bdell, I'll definitely be in touch, brother. I look forward to doing it again, man. So it's been another honor and a pleasure, brother, for sure. All right, family. So we'll see y'all on the next episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisha Gbemi. Shout out to the Big Chief Rod Hayes, and shout out to the brother Bdell 1014, the Master Scientist, also known as the Master Researcher, man. We'll see y'all on the next episode, family. We out. Yes, sir.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé ṣàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjà kọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors, embrace your